Parte 1. The first night. The job listing was strange enough that I read it 3 times. Seeking reliable night watch person for property in Clinton Hill. Private historical home undergoing long-term renovation. No cleaning, no security enforcement. Just observe. Nights only. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. $550 a week. Weekly cash payments. Must be punctual. Do not enter the upper floors. Do not explore. No phone number, just an email and the words, serious inquiries only. I was broke. Rent past due. Credit maxed. So I emailed. Got a reply within 20 minutes. An address. A start date. No interview. Just show up on time, stay awake. You'll be watched. Normally, I would have laughed and deleted it. But $550 a week to sit in a house overnight? Hell yes. The house was on Washington Avenue in Brooklyn. A block of tall brownstones and iron fences, all steeped in history and mildew. It was bigger than I expected. 3 stories, pale brick. Wide windows with black curtains drawn tight. The kind of house that used to belong to robber barons or old money families before they fell apart and moved to Connecticut. When I arrived at 9:55 p.m., the front door was already unlocked. Inside, the air was heavy. Not musty, not dirty, just old. It felt like a museum. Quiet, preserved, unlived in. A short hallway led to the main room, a large parlor with a velvet armchair facing the front windows. A side table with a small black notebook and a single lamp. The rest of the house was dim. No signs of work being done. No tools, no drop cloths, no sounds. I stood there for a moment, then noticed the note on the table. Welcome. This is your post. Stay in this room. Do not explore. Log any disturbances in the black notebook. You'll be paid Friday. No need to lock the door. Underneath the note was a key. Just one. Brass. Old. I didn't know what it opened. At exactly 10 p.m., the lamp flickered on by itself. Not a surge, just flicked on. I blinked, reached out. The switch wasn't hot. The bulb was steady. I sat down, pulled out my phone. No signal. That was the first red flag. Not that it had no bars. That happens. But that it said, no network. That's not the same thing. Still, I stayed, because $550. The first hour passed slowly. The street outside was quiet. 1 taxi, 2 dog walkers, then nothing. At 11:17 p.m., I heard footsteps above me. Soft, slow, measured. I froze. They moved from right to left, across the ceiling. Then silence. I looked at the note again. Log any disturbances. I picked up the pen, wrote, 11:17, footsteps above me. Could be pipes, no other sounds. I waited. No more noises, no creaks, no wind. At midnight, the lamp dimmed, not flickered, dimmed, gradually, then brightened. Like someone adjusting a dimmer switch very slowly. I wrote that down too. 12 o'clock, lamp dimmed briefly. No apparent cause. At 12:42, the door creaked open somewhere deep in the house. I didn't move, didn't get up, didn't even breathe. It was behind me, far off, like in the kitchen or basement, but I never saw a kitchen. The hallway had no branches, just led here. Then silence again. Around 2 a.m., I must have dozed off. I only realized it when I woke with a jerk and saw a figure standing outside, at the gate, motionless, facing the house. I stood slowly, tried to look without moving the curtain. A tall man, long coat, no hat, no visible face, just the angle of his head tilted upward, looking straight at the window, looking straight at me. I didn't move, neither did he. I blinked. He was gone. Gone. No footsteps, no gate sound, nothing. I logged it. 2:04, saw man at gate, disappeared instantly. I stayed up after that, didn't sit, didn't blink much, watched the hallway like it might blink back. Nothing else happened. At 5:58 a.m., the lamp clicked off by itself. At 6:01, I stood and opened the door. The morning light hit me like a punch. The street looked normal. The air smelled like exhaust and coffee. People walked by like this was just another house. Just another day. Friday came. An envelope was on the chair. Inside, $550 in clean $50. No note, no explanation. I told myself I'd do one more week, just one more. But the second night was worse, because the footsteps came again, and this time they stopped above me and didn't move. And then something knocked once on the ceiling, right above my head. Parte dos, something upstairs. The knock wasn't loud, just one short rap, flat and hollow, like someone tapping with their knuckles. Not aggressive, not urgent, almost polite. But it came from directly above me, right above the armchair. I stared at the ceiling for a long time, didn't move, didn't breathe. Then it came again, same spot, knock. I stood, backed away from the chair. The floor didn't creak under me, though I was sure it would. Nothing creaked in that house. Nothing except what wanted to. I looked at the notebook. 2:41 a.m. Knocking. Twice. Above chair. No movement since. I didn't sit back down. I turned on the flashlight app on my phone. It worked even without signal, and aimed it at the corners of the room. Everything looked the same. Same lamp, same side table, same faint pattern in the wallpaper that always reminded me of curled vines. But I had the feeling I wasn't alone. Not anymore. I stayed standing for the rest of the shift. At 6 a.m. sharp, the lamp clicked off. By 6:02, I was already walking down the street, gripping the key in one hand like a totem. I didn't go home. I sat in a coffee shop until noon, just watching people exist, smiling, typing, laughing. No one else had been in that house. No one else heard the knock. That night, I debated not going back. But I needed the money. I convinced myself it was just sound, old house acoustics, maybe something structural. Third night, 10 p.m., lamp on, same welcome note, untouched. Same air, heavy, expectant. This time I brought a Polaroid. Don't ask me why. I'd found it in a drawer at home earlier that day, and it felt right to bring something analog. I took a picture of the room just after I sat down. Flash lit up the walls. I shook the photo and set it aside. Nothing strange. At 11:30, the footsteps returned. This time, softer, longer, dragging slightly. And again, they stopped directly above me, but no knock, just silence. Then something changed. I heard a door creak open upstairs. Then a faint shuffling. Not walking, moving. Like fabric brushing along the walls. Then another sound. Breathing, not mine. Shallow, slow. I held my breath. It continued. Not loud, not threatening, but close. Too close. Then it stopped. I looked down. The Polaroid was gone. Just gone. I stood up, checked under the table, under the chair. Nothing. Then I saw it. Pinned to the wall above the fireplace. I hadn't even noticed a fireplace before. The photo was there, but it had changed. In the image, the room, empty, except for one thing, a figure standing behind the chair, right where I had been sitting. I didn't go back the next night. I called in sick by email. No response. Friday, the envelope was still there. Same amount, no message, no mention of my absence. I told myself it was over, but the next Tuesday, I woke up to find a second Polaroid taped to my apartment door. Same room, same angle. But now the figure was sitting in the chair, looking straight at the camera, looking at me. Parte 3. The man in the chair. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat on the couch with every light on, the Polaroid face down on the coffee table, my hands shaking. The image was impossible. That chair had been empty. I'd taken the photo myself, but now there was someone in it. Not just a blur or shadow, a figure, human. Dressed in a dark coat, shoulders hunched, head tilted slightly, staring directly ahead. Not at the camera, at me, like he knew who I was. The next morning, I went to a print shop and had the photo scanned. The clerk didn't ask questions. I cropped it, brightened it, zoomed in on the face. It was my face, not similar, not a twin, mine. The same slouch, same crease at the brow, same mole above my jawline, but off, like it was wearing my face, like a mask stretched too tight. I left the file on a flash drive. Didn't take a printout, didn't want to hold it again. That night, I went back to the house. I told myself it was to confront whatever this was, to end it, to prove I wasn't crazy, to finish the job. But really, I was drawn there, like gravity, like the house had opened a space where my name used to be. 10 p.m., lamp on, chair waiting, notebook still on the table, a new note beneath it, typed. You saw yourself. Good. That means it's almost done. Stay seated tonight. Do not take photos. Do not look into any mirrors. I looked around. There were no mirrors in the room. None in the hall. None that I could remember. I sat. The lamp buzzed faintly. At 10:47, I heard breathing again. This time behind me, closer than ever, like someone was standing just over my shoulder. I turned. Nothing. But the air was cold, very cold. At 11:12, something tapped the window. A slow, deliberate tap. I stood, walked to the curtain, and carefully pulled it aside. Empty street. Then a second tap. From the inside. Behind me. I turned. The mirror was back, standing against the wall where there hadn't been anything before. Full length, ornate frame. Bronze. Old. And in it, me, but not me now. Me from the Polaroid, sitting in the chair, smiling slightly. Behind him, a second figure, dark, tall, antlered. I blinked. The mirror was gone. Just empty wall. I wrote nothing in the notebook. I sat down and waited for morning. At 6 a.m., the lamp clicked off. I stood. A second envelope was waiting. Same cash, but this time there was a small photograph inside, one I hadn't taken. Of me, asleep in the chair, taken from above, from the ceiling. Parte 4, the watcher upstairs. I didn't remember falling asleep. The photo in the envelope showed me, slouched, eyes closed, mouth slightly open, A beam of light from the lamp cast a long shadow behind the chair, a shadow with antlers. But the house had no cameras, no staff, no access to the upper floors. At least, not for me. Still, the photo had been taken from above, straight down, like someone had been watching through a hole in the ceiling. Or worse, standing directly over me. I didn't open the next envelope. I didn't return the next night. But I couldn't stay away either. I visited the property during the day. From the sidewalk, it looked perfectly normal. I walked the perimeter, felt the bricks, no loose panels, no visible wires, just a house with too many windows and none that looked back. I knocked. No answer. Tried the key. It didn't fit the door anymore. But when I turned to leave, the door opened by itself. The hallway was dark, cold, still. I didn't step inside, just stood there, listening. For a long moment, I thought I heard breathing. Then, a whisper. Very faint. Come back. I slammed the door. That night, I received an email. No subject line, no sender, just one sentence. You left your post. I blocked the address. The next day, a new Polaroid was waiting in my mailbox. Unlabeled envelope. Same type, same size. This time, the photo was black at first glance. But when I tilted it toward the light, I saw my apartment, my couch, my reflection in the TV. Only I wasn't home. Hadn't been all day. I dropped the photo, left it on the floor, didn't pick it up again. I bought new locks, changed apartments a week later, didn't tell anyone, paid cash, thought it was over. Then, one night, as I walked home, I passed an alleyway and saw a light, warm, dim, familiar, coming from inside a window on the third floor of a building I'd never seen before. And behind that window, a silhouette, sitting in a chair, watching, still, head tilted. I turned and ran, didn't stop until I reached my building, didn't sleep, didn't eat. The next morning, there was a knock at the door. 3 slow taps. I froze. Another knock, then a soft rustle, like paper sliding under the door. I waited an hour before checking. It was the notebook, the one from the house. Same black cover, same pen, open to a fresh page. Only one thing written. You missed something upstairs. Parte 5. Upstairs, I stared at the notebook for hours. Didn't touch it, didn't open it again. I thought I was done with that house. I thought whatever it wanted from me had already passed. But that single sentence, you missed something upstairs, felt like a thread unraveling the whole thing. Because I hadn't been upstairs, not once. I was told not to, warned not to. But now it felt like a command. That night, I returned. I told myself it was for closure, for answers. But deep down, I knew I was going back because the house had let me go, and now it was calling me back. The door was unlocked again. Same air, same hallway, same chair. The lamp flicked on at 10 p.m. sharp. But I didn't sit. I looked up the staircase and climbed. The steps didn't creak, not once. The second floor was dim, lined with faded portraits, all versions of the same man, in different clothes, different eras. But always the same face. Mine. The hallway bent left, then right, like a mirror maze. Doors on either side, all closed, except the last one, slightly ajar. I pushed it open. Inside, a bedroom. Dusty, empty, except for the bed, made perfectly, and a mirror on the far wall. Standing floor length, silver framed, fogged. I stepped closer. My reflection stared back, but it didn't move when I did. It blinked too slow, tilted its head the wrong direction, then it smiled. I turned away, left the room, but the hallway was different now. Longer, narrower. The portraits had changed. Now they showed the man in the chair. Only the face was blurred, or maybe stretched. I walked faster, but the end of the hallway kept retreating. I started to run. My footsteps made no sound. The walls pulsed. Then a door. Not like the others. This one was metal. Bolted, locked. The brass key in my coat pocket burned hot. I took it out. It fit. Inside was a room lined with televisions. Old CRT monitors, stacked floor to ceiling. Each playing footage of me, sleeping, walking, eating, crying, watching, every moment of the last 6 months. Some from angles I didn't recognize. One showed me at the cafe down the street, another brushing my teeth, another staring into the mirror in the bedroom I'd just left. And on one screen, I wasn't moving, just sitting in the chair. Same room, same lamp, same posture. Eyes open, unblinking, staring into the camera. I stepped back. The door closed behind me. I was locked in. The monitors flickered. Static rolled across the screens. Then all went dark, except one. It showed the parlor. Live, empty, the lamp still on. Then someone walked into frame, sat in the chair, not me, but wearing my face. And behind them, the mirror appeared. And in the mirror, me, standing in this room, trapped. The figure turned toward the camera, raised its hand, and waved. Parte 6, exit protocol. The figure on the screen didn't move again, just sat in the chair, staring at me. No blinking, no breathing. I paced the room, checking every wall for seams, panels, a crack, a vent. Nothing. No exit, no air. Only the hum of the single remaining monitor. Until that, too, went black. Then silence. Total. The kind you feel in your teeth. I sat down on the cold concrete floor and waited. For what? I didn't know. Sleep? Death? Understanding? Instead, I heard footsteps. From above. Soft at first. Then louder. Then right above the ceiling. And then behind the wall. Then inside the room. But there was no one there. Just the sound. Until I heard the voice, my voice, from the corner, saying, "We always come back." The lights snapped on. The door opened. The hallway outside was new. White walls, clean wood floors, sunlight pouring through windows I hadn't seen before. No mirrors, no stairs, just an elevator at the end. Press the button. It opened immediately. Inside, no buttons, no floor count, just a brass plaque. Return. The doors closed. I woke up in the chair. The lamp was still on. The room unchanged. Outside, sunlight, people passing, normal life. As if none of it had happened. I looked at the notebook on the table. It was blank. No pages, just a single typed card on top. Final shift completed. Exit through the front. Thank you for your service. You will not be called again. I stood, walked to the door, opened it, and left. For weeks, I waited for something to follow me. Another photo, a knock at the door, a mirror that blinked, but nothing came. No new job offers, no emails, just silence. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I see the hallway again. Not in dreams, in memory, as if I'm still there, or always was. Because here's what I think now. The house didn't want to haunt me. It wanted to be me. And now that I'm out, I don't know if I ever really left. The end.